This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Divided highway ends. C. Two-way traffic. D. Keep left. B. Divided highway ends. Warning signs are usually diamond-shaped with black markings on a yellow background. They alert drivers to upcoming hazards. This sign indicates that the divided highway is about to end. This road sign means A. You are about to enter a one-way street the wrong way. B. School crossing ahead. C. Do not drive in this lane. D. Traffic turning left on the green light must yield to oncoming traffic. This sign means A. Stop ahead. B. Buggy warning. C. Limited parking. D. Do not block intersection. A. Stop ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers that there is an upcoming stop sign and that they should prepare to come to a complete stop before proceeding. Before turning, you should A. Use your signal. B. Turn the wheel. C. Increase your speed. D. Change lanes. A. Use your signal. To complete a turn safely, you should activate your turn signal 3 to 4 seconds before your turn.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Increasing your vehicle's speed. A. Increases your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. C. Makes it easier to see cross traffic. D. Has no effect on your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. The faster you drive, the smaller your field of vision becomes. As your speed increases and your field of vision decreases, you must be extra alert to potential hazards. The most important thing to remember about speed management and curves is that you must A. Drive at the posted speed limit as you enter the curve, then slow down at the sharpest part of the curve. B. Slow down before you enter the curve. C. Accelerate gently before you enter the curve. D. Drive at the posted speed limit before, throughout, and after the curve. You may turn right on red. A. After coming to a complete stop and yielding to pedestrians and vehicles in the intersection. B. Before pedestrians have crossed any intersecting crosswalks. C. Where there is a sign prohibiting turning right on red. D. Before coming to a complete stop. A. After coming to a complete stop and yielding to pedestrians and vehicles in the intersection. If you are turning right, you may turn on a red light after coming to a full stop. You may only turn if it is safe to do so and if there is no sign prohibiting the turn on a red light. Be careful of pedestrians crossing in front of your vehicle. You are driving when it starts to sleet or snow. You should A. Keep your windshield and mirrors clear. B. Allow additional distance between your vehicle and the vehicles that you are following. C. Approach all vehicles with caution. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. In snowy weather, keep your windshield and mirrors clear. Increase your following distance when driving in wet and cold weather because a slippery road surface will increase the distance needed for your vehicle to stop. When driving near heavy trucks, other drivers and highway users must make allowances for A. The increased stopping distance required by large vehicles. B. The decreased stopping distance required by large vehicles. C. The decreased noise of larger vehicles. D. The increased speed of larger vehicles. A. The increased stopping distance required by large vehicles. When driving near heavy trucks, other drivers and highway users must make allowances for the increased stopping distance required by the large vehicles. Drivers of smaller vehicles should remain in locations where they can be seen by the driver of the large vehicle and where their view of traffic is not blocked by the vehicle. Who is required to wear a seat belt? A. The driver. B. A front seat passenger. C. Any child under the age of 16. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Under Michigan seat belt and child safety restraint laws, a law enforcement officer may stop a vehicle if the driver and occupants are not properly buckled up. The driver, any front seat passenger, and any child under the age of 16 is required to wear a seat belt in a moving vehicle. You may drink alcoholic beverages in a vehicle on a public highway. A. As long as you aren't driving. B. If you are riding in the back seat. C. If you are riding in the back of a pickup truck. D. Under no circumstances. D. Under no circumstances. It is against the law to consume or possess any alcoholic beverage while on a public road or sidewalk. Additionally, storing an open alcoholic beverage container in an area of a motor vehicle normally occupied by the driver or passenger is prohibited on any public road. To check your blind spot before changing lanes. A. Look into the left side mirror. B. Look into the right side mirror. C. Look into the rearview mirror. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. To check your blind spot before changing lanes, you should look over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. This road sign means A. A steep grade is ahead. B. You must turn left ahead. C. Do not enter. D. A four-way intersection is ahead. D. A four-way intersection is ahead. This sign warns that a four-way intersection is ahead. Crossbuck signs indicate A. Railroad crossings. B. School zones. C. No passing zones. D. Hospitals. A. Railroad crossings. Crossbuck signs tell drivers to yield to trains at a railroad crossing. Drivers should not try to outdrive a train. You must pull over to the edge of the road and allow an emergency vehicle to pass. A. Regardless of your direction. B. Only if it is following you. C. Only if it is approaching you from the opposite direction. D. None of the above. A. Regardless of your direction. You must pull over to the right edge of the road and stop for an emergency vehicle with flashing lights, regardless of whether it is approaching you from behind or from the opposite direction. Which of the following is a safe way to drive through a curve? A. Slow down as you enter, speed up as you exit. B. Maintain a constant speed throughout the curve. C. Speed up as you enter, slow down as you exit. D. Stay near the right edge of your lane. A. Slow down as you enter, speed up as you exit. You should slow down as you enter a curve and increase your speed gradually as you exit. Increasing your speed as you enter a curve will make it more difficult to control your vehicle. A fully loaded tractor-trailer traveling at 55 miles per hour could take up to fill in the blank to come to a complete stop. A. 50 feet. B. 125 feet. C. 400 feet. D. 750 feet. C. 400 feet. Tractor-trailers take longer distances to stop than smaller cars traveling at the same speed. A fully loaded tractor-trailer may take almost 400 feet to come to a complete stop when driving at 55 miles per hour. Lanes of traffic moving in the same direction are divided by fill in the blank lines. A. Yellow. B. White. C. Red. D. Black. B. White. Solid white lines are used to separate lanes traveling in the same direction as well as to mark the right edge of the road. Broken white lines separate lanes traveling in the same direction and may be crossed to pass. Yellow lines separate lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions. An inattentive driver is a driver who A. Stares at objects off the roadway or daydreams while driving. B. Maintains eye contact during a conversation with a passenger while driving. C. Only watches the vehicle ahead of their vehicle. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Do not become distracted by looking at passengers, attempting to find something in your vehicle, looking at reading material, sightseeing, or daydreaming while driving. Continue scanning the road, checking your mirrors, and looking at the instrument panel at regular intervals. Developing these safe habits will keep you attentive as a driver. This road sign means A. Turn right after making a complete stop. B. Right turns are not permitted. C. Left turns are permitted. D. None of the above. B. Right turns are not permitted. Regulatory signs display laws that drivers must always obey. Right turns are not permitted where this sign is present. A pedestrian starts to cross in front of your vehicle. You should A. Flash your lights. B. Slow down. C. Speed up and pass in front of the pedestrian. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. D. Stop and let the pedestrian cross. Slow down and be prepared to stop whenever you see pedestrians walking on or crossing the roadway. Be particularly careful where children are present. Always yield the right of way to a pedestrian crossing in a crosswalk. An approaching driver fails to dim their high-beam headlights. Where should you look? A. At the wheels of the approaching vehicle. B. Toward the right side of the road. C. Toward the left side of the road. D. Straight down the middle of the road. B. Toward the right side of the road. If an approaching driver fails to dim their high beams, glance toward the right side of the road. This will keep you from being blinded by the other vehicle's headlights and will allow you to see enough of the road to stay on course until the other vehicle has passed. Vehicle stopping distances never depend on A. Your own reaction time. B. The time of day. C. The condition of your vehicle's brakes. D. The condition and type of your vehicle's tires. B. The time of day. The distance that a vehicle needs to stop depends on the motorist's reaction time, weather and visibility conditions, the vehicle's weight, the conditions of the vehicle's brakes, the condition and type of the vehicle's tires, roadway conditions, and speed. When you see or hear an emergency vehicle coming, you should A. Stop immediately and let the vehicle pass. B. Drive as far toward the right side of the road as is safe and stop. C. Proceed slowly and permit the vehicle to pass. D. Keep moving slowly, staying to the right side of the road. B. Drive as far toward the right side of the road as is safe and stop. When driving on a two-lane roadway or undivided highway, you must yield to an emergency vehicle using its lights and/or siren, regardless of the direction from which it is approaching. Immediately drive as near as possible to the right side of the road and stop, taking care not to stop within an intersection. You are making a left turn from a two-way street onto a one-way street. When you have completed the turn, your car should be A. In the right lane of the street. B. In the center of the street. C. In the left lane of the street. D. In the lane with the least traffic. C. In the left lane of the street. If you are turning left from a two-way street onto a one-way street, you should complete the turn into the lane closest to the lane you have just left. Car drivers should know that large trucks A. Have large blind spots. B. Can stop more quickly than passenger vehicles. C. Do not need more room to maneuver than passenger vehicles. D. All of the above. A. Have large blind spots. A large truck has large blind spots to the front, sides, and rear of the vehicle. Avoid lingering in these areas. Because of their larger size and weight, trucks require more room to maneuver and stop than passenger vehicles. You come to an intersection that is blocked by other traffic. You should A. Go slowly until the traffic ahead moves. B. Get as close as possible to the car in front of you. C. Stay out of the intersection until you can pass through. D. Sound your horn to make the cars move up. C. Stay out of the intersection until you can pass through. You cannot enter an intersection if traffic is backed up on the other side and you cannot get completely through the intersection. Wait until traffic ahead clears so you do not block the intersection. Which of the following lights indicates that you should slow down and proceed with caution at an intersection? A. A flashing yellow light. B. A flashing red light. C. A solid yellow light. D. A solid red light. A. A flashing yellow light. A flashing yellow traffic light at an intersection indicates that drivers must slow down, proceed with caution, and be prepared to stop. You must not drive your vehicle at a speed greater than A. The maximum speed limit. B. A speed that is faster than is reasonable and prudent. C. A speed that is safe for existing conditions. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must not drive at a speed that is faster than is reasonable and prudent. You must drive at a speed that is appropriate for the area where you are driving, the type and condition of surrounding traffic, the presence of pedestrians, the weather, the quality of the road, and light conditions. You must drive within legal speed limits. You may not park within. Fill in the blank. Of a fire hydrant. A. 20 feet. B. 15 feet. C. 30 feet. D. 45 feet. B. 15 feet. Drivers should not park within 15 feet of a fire hydrant. Drivers should only park where it is legal to do so and where other drivers can clearly see their stopped vehicle. You are entering a crowded freeway. What should you do to merge into traffic? A. Use your side and rear view mirrors and check your blind spots. B. Use the acceleration lane to adjust your speed to match the speed of freeway traffic. C. Yield to traffic already on the freeway. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Use the entrance ramp to accelerate to the speed of freeway traffic and yield to traffic already using the freeway. Before entering traffic, use your mirrors and check your blind spots to verify that you have room to safely merge. When encountering an aggressive driver, you should A. Avoid eye contact, slow down, and let them pass. B. Cut them off to slow them down. C. Retaliate by tailgating them. D. Make sure they know you disapprove of their behavior. A. Avoid eye contact, slow down, and let them pass. If another driver is threatening you or intentionally driving dangerously around you, remain calm and try to put as much distance between the two of you as possible. Slow down and let them pass. Do not make eye contact and do not make obscene gestures. This sign means A. Trucks are permitted on an upcoming narrow bridge. B. The bridge ahead is open to one-way traffic only. C. The bridge ahead is wide enough for only one car at a time. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. Warning signs are used to warn drivers about upcoming hazardous conditions and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that an upcoming bridge may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck and that they should be careful. Before switching on the ignition, you should A. Be sure only backseat passengers have buckled their seat belts. B. Be sure only adult passengers have buckled their seat belts. C. Be sure only child passengers have buckled their seat belts. D. Be sure all of the vehicle's occupants have buckled their seat belts. D. Be sure all of the vehicle's occupants have buckled their seat belts. Develop a routine for entering and leaving your car. Before switching on the ignition, buckle your safety belt and see that all passengers do likewise. If one of your tires blows out as you are driving, you should A. Brake hard immediately. B. Try to steer straight while gradually slowing by removing your foot from the gas pedal. C. Maintain your current speed and steer straight. D. Swerve back and forth to alert traffic behind you. B. Try to steer straight while gradually slowing by removing your foot from the gas pedal. If a tire blows out while you are driving, hold the steering wheel tightly and keep the car headed straight down the road. Ease your foot off the gas pedal and do not apply the brakes until you have complete control. When the car is under control, brake gently and pull off the road at the nearest safe location. To turn left from multilane, one-way streets and highways, you should start from A. The middle of the intersection. B. The right lane. C. The left lane. D. Any lane. C. The left lane. To turn left from multi-lane streets and highways, Start from the left lane. To prepare for anything coming up on the road ahead, you should A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. B. Stare straight ahead at all times. C. Drive with your left foot resting lightly on the brake pedal. D. Maintain focus toward the middle of the road. A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. Your ability to handle dangerous traffic situations depends largely on searching for and identifying problems before meeting them. Looking far ahead of your vehicle does not mean you should simply stare at the center of the road. You need to continually scan the entire road, including the sides of the road. This sign means A. Divided highway ends. B. One-way traffic ahead. C. Two-way traffic ahead. D. Keep to the right. D. Keep to the right. This sign indicates that you must keep to the right of the upcoming divider. If you need to stop quickly and your vehicle is not equipped with an anti-lock braking system (ABS), you should A. Hold down the brake pedal. B. Firmly pump your brakes. C. Lightly tap the brakes. D. Release the brake pedal. B. Firmly pump your brakes. Pumping the brakes is generally the best way to stop a car in an emergency. The car will stop quickly and you will also be able to continue steering. When you see an emergency vehicle with flashing lights, you must A. Slow down and keep moving in your lane. B. Keep driving in your lane. C. Pull to the right curb and stop. D. Stop exactly where you are. C. Pull to the right curb and stop. When you see an emergency vehicle using its lights or hear it using its siren, you must immediately pull over to the curb or side of the road and stop. What does an orange-colored sign indicate? A. The start of a no-passing zone. B. A railroad crossing is ahead. C. A school zone is ahead. D. The presence of construction work. D. The presence of construction work. Construction, maintenance, and emergency operations signs are generally orange with black symbols. You are driving on a busy street and your vehicle's accelerator sticks open. You should A. Blow your horn. B. Slam on your brakes. C. Turn on your four-way flashers. D. Turn off your ignition, taking care not to engage the steering wheel locking mechanism. D. Turn off your ignition, taking care not to engage the steering wheel locking mechanism. If your vehicle's accelerator sticks open, your vehicle will continue to maintain its speed or accelerate, even if you remove your foot from the gas pedal. Turn off the ignition, using care to move the ignition switch only far enough to stop the engine and not engage the steering wheel locking mechanism. Apply your brakes and move off the road to a safe area. When approaching an accident scene, you should A. Keep your attention on your driving. B. Keep moving. C. Stop if you are involved or if emergency help has not yet arrived. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Do not stop at an accident scene unless you are involved or emergency help has not yet arrived. Keep your attention on your driving and keep moving, watching for people who might be on or near the road. Never drive to the scene of an accident, fire, or other disaster just to look. Railroad crossings should always be considered A. Safe to cross, as it is unlikely that a train will be coming. B. Dangerous. C. Safe locations to park a car. D. A place where it is required to stop. B. Dangerous. Railroad crossings are always dangerous. Drivers should always look and listen for trains approaching from either direction on all railroad tracks. Always follow the directions indicated by signs, signals, and flaggers. Never proceed past a railroad crossing until you are certain it is safe to do so. When approaching a flashing yellow light, drivers should A. Increase their speed. B. Come to a complete stop. C. Turn on their headlights. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. A flashing yellow light warns of a hazard. Slow down and proceed with caution. When you drive through an area where children are playing, you should expect them A. To know when it is safe to cross the street. B. To stop at the curb before crossing the street. C. To run out in front of you without looking. D. Not to cross the street unless they are with an adult. This road sign means A. Road construction ahead. B. The road ahead curves left, then right. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. D. Steep grade ahead. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. You should slow down to be able to negotiate these curves safely. This sign means A. One-way traffic. B. Intersection ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. D. Highway curves ahead. C. Merging traffic from the right. This sign indicates that there is merging traffic entering from the right. The sign with this shape and color is a fill in the blank sign. A. No passing zone. B. Wrong way. C. Railroad crossing. D. Stop. A. No passing zone. Pennant-shaped warning signs like this are only used to indicate a no passing zone. Drivers who have consumed alcohol before getting behind the wheel A. Are always aware of the risks they are taking. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. C. Are better drivers because they are more careful than sober drivers. D. Have quicker reaction times. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. Alcohol is a depressant that negatively affects judgment, vision, concentration, understanding of reality, and reaction time. It is never safe to consume alcohol in any amount before getting behind the wheel of a car.